Hey people, it's Chris Radio here. I'm alone with this one. This is one of my solo videos, and I'll be doing some more of these as time goes on. So this video will be about defining a visual novel. So I define visual novels in a very particular way, unlike other definitions. Of course, there's plenty of ways to define a visual novel, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I intend to review visual novels eventually on the channel. And of course, I want to have a point system on certain visual novels, and they'll be like totaled up one day. It'll be a whole fun little thing. But how I define visual novels is as a let's actually read the document before I get into how I do it. So defining a visual novel is a hard task to do, and there's much to debate on what is and what isn't a visual novel. This is very true. There's been many debates on what is and what isn't, especially because the major resource for visual novels is called VNDB. And they are very picky with how they define things. For example, Phoenix Wright and all the Ace Attorney games, I believe they're called Ace Attorney. They're not considered a visual novel, even though to me they very much are. So if we use Wikipedia's definition, a visual novel is a form of digital interactive fiction. Visual novels are often associated with the medium of video games, but are not always labeled as such themselves. They combine a textual narrative with static or animated illustrations and a varying degree of interactivity. That is the general, rough estimate of what a visual novel is, give or take. But I agree upon this. I expand upon what a visual novel is. This is basically how I define them. If you guys want to not hear me speak, you can always pause and you can just read. That's okay. So a visual novel is a game that prioritizes text and the usage of static of 2D and are semi-static, limited animations, visuals, along with music and sound effects. The central portion of the gameplay relies heavily on reading and in some cases making choices which can affect the overall story of the game and lead the player to multiple other endings. That is generally how I view visual novels, but not everything really falls upon this. I immediately go into, but this is not a solid definition. Because there are many visual novels that do not utilize static or semi-static visuals. Instead, they go fucking 3D, give or take, or even use full animations. And we have to break down on the different types. So we have multiple different types. There are traditional, there's traditional hybrid, there's kinetic hybrid, and that is it for the types. So to describe it a bit further, traditional visual novels are novels that have your standard static limited animation, usage of music slash sound effects, interactive elements such as choices, branching stories, and multiple endings. Some examples are Clannad, I may pronounce that wrong, Air, and Canon or Canon. I can never pronounce it right with this one. Traditional hybrid. These are visual novels that operate in a very similar manner to a traditional one, but they opt to use full animations or even go fully 3D. They sometimes will go forego sound or music, or include new genres. For example, RPG, strategy, dungeon crawlers, puzzles. A good example is this is School Days, Persona, only some of them, mind you, and the Rant series. If you're playing any of those games, I can't cover them on the channel because they're all adult games, if you will. Another example would be the Zero Escape games. If you're playing any of those, then those are another example. Kinetic. These ones are iffier on the spectrum of if this is a visual novel or not. Well, of course they are, but if you're like, is this actually a game? It really depends, I suppose. Kinetic visual novels are linear forms of visual novels. They tell a linear story without branching, without choices or multiple endings, favoring the story entirely and foregoing interactivity. Examples of this include Higurashi When They Cry, Guilty Gear, and Norsu. I cannot pronounce that right. I'm sorry. Now, hybrid forms of this often will opt to include branching and multiple endings and choices and such, but they are also clearly marked as bad endings, dead endings, or if endings. So clearly, while they are kinetic in nature, or rather, they may seem traditional, they are very much kinetic because all the endings are false except for the one true end. Some examples of this would include the Zero Escape series, which is very much a kinetic. The Raging Loop game, which is amazing, and Quantum Suicide. I love that game as well. So now we have that all out of the way, we have to decide on how do we decide if it is a visual novel or not, if you will. This is my criteria list. Does the game have choices slash interactive functions? If it has it, then great. You're already achieving it. Does it focus centrally on the story? many visual novels, or rather almost all of them, feature solely on the story. I hope it does. Does it include a standard dialogue box or iteration? This one is more up to choice. There are plenty of visual novels that do not use a standard one, at the very bottom. Some of them use one that goes all the way across the damn screen. I hate those. I believe Higurashi uses that. Is the game a hybrid? And if so, what genres does it include? Does the game have multiple branching, or is it kinetic? Does the game feature one ending, multiple, or none? There are rare cases where the game just ends off and there is no actual ending. It just ends there. Those are weird games. They are rare. They're usually incomplete games, mind you. You never really find a complete game do that. Does the game make use of music/sound? Does the game include a save system of some sort? This is optional. This is just me being a bit nitpicky. Does it use imagery of any kind? This is important. You'll sometimes you'll see me include this type of stuff. Is like, I believe this one is also important. I should actually label that one as important because that's worth more points in how I rank these damn things. Does it use static limited animation or fully animated or 3D environment/characters? Now that we have these clarifications, we should actually clarify these things. I am very meticulous on how I handle these type of damn things, and I like to give you guys a bit more detail. Again, if you want to hear me speak, just pause and you can keep viewing. So, does the game have choices / interactive functions? I wish to note that a game won't be disqualified if it doesn't meet this function, as some games, as previously stated, are kinetic, but can meet all other requirements just fine. Well, if they are a hybrid, that is. Is the game a hybrid, and if so, what other genres does it combine with? To put it simply, some games will will lean far into one area over another. For example, the Persona franchise is a JRPG series with visual novel elements, but some of its games lean far more into the visual novel territory. A good example of a hybrid would be Sengoku Rant. At its core, it's a visual novel. It incorporates strategy game elements while still retaining a core visual novel experience. Does it include a standard dialogue box? I more or less explained this already, so I don't need to go over it again. Now, one thing I want to do is, it's called paying respect to the roots. So visual novels, its beginnings are more or less covered on VNDB, thank goodness. So they're kind of like adventure games initially, and for example, Mystery House. They would not meet my criteria list if it if it's a visual novel or not. Because they are old, but they kind of started the whole genre, so they deserve respect, if you will. So that is how I'm gonna be handling this from now on. I just want to put this out here because I want to do visual novels. I want to review them. Heck, I might even play them if they're short. I don't want to do a whole series or anything like that. It's more just me reviewing them, similar to how Oz does his reviews for his books. But if you guys want to see me actually play the games, I'm more than willing. Just prepare for me to maybe stutter here and there. Speech therapy is not working. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was something short, sweet, and simple I just want to put out there. Still a little something fun. Anyway, see you guys next time.